Hello guys, I'm back to correct the homework I've given you, okay? So these are the questions and let's start. What they're telling me in this exercise is that my consumption function is 7 over 8 times GDP plus 1000. So this is my constant B and this is my slope, which is my MPC. Okay. And they're also telling me that 3 in $8 go to imports. That means my MPM is, so I'm going to put my data here. MPC was 7 over 8. I know it's the slope of the consumption function. And MPM is equal 3 in 8. That would be 3 over 8. 3 over 8, that would be my MPM. Okay? Now I'm moving to question 1. Oops, I need my little markers. Okay, question 1. They're asking me to determine my total spending function given those data. Total spending function given I is equal to 200, G is equal to 200, and I have no exports. So exports equals 0. Am I going to use the total spending of a closed economy because I have no exports, or an open economy? Open economy. For the simple reason they're telling you 3 in $8 go to imported goods. So I need to take imports into consideration even though I have no exports. Okay? So what would be my total spending? I gave you the rule. So total spending, I'm going to just write TS. It's easier on me. TS function is equal to, so it's MPC minus MPM, because it changes the slope of the function from a closed to an open economy. This one is smaller than this one. Times GDP plus I plus G plus exports, because imports are already taken into consideration here. Plus B would be your constant, plus I plus G plus exports. Okay, let's apply it to our example. So it's 7 over 8 minus 3 over 8. That would be what the proportion you spend locally times GDP plus 1000, which is my B, plus 200 plus 200 plus 0 for exports. Okay? So 7 minus 3, that would be 4 over, of course, over 8, which is going to give me 1 over 2. Let's keep it 4 over 8. GDP plus 1,400. That would be my total spending function. Okay, guys? You can simplify to 1 over 2. Okay? I'm going to move now to question number 2. Question 2. Question 1, I need to write the solution here because you're going to need it for plotting. So, where am I going to write it? 4 over 8 GDP plus 1,400. That would be your function. My dog is whining as usual because I'm not paying attention to her. Okay, now GDP at E at equilibrium when investment is equal to 200, G, government spending, is equal to 200 and exports 500. So I'm looking for GDP at E. IE is equal to 200. GE is equal to 200. And exports at E are equal to 500. And they're asking me for the C plus I approach. So in the C plus I approach, do I only use C plus I? No, we've done this before. So it's C plus I plus G plus X in the open economy. So when do you have an equilibrium? It's when your GDP, the GDP at equilibrium, is equal to your consumption plus your investment plus your government plus your net exports. And we already modified it to have the total spending. So your total spending is equal to your GDP. So GDP at E is equal to, I already know this one. So can I put 1 over 2, simplified from 4 over 8? GDP plus, well, I already know it's 1,400 plus exports, but I'm gonna redo it. Plus 1,000 plus 200 plus 200 again plus 500. I should have rewritten this here. Okay. Yeah, no need to. You would have to do it, but I didn't write it. It's okay. So GDP at E is equal to 1 over 2 GDP plus GDP at E, of course, plus 1,900. Okay? So I'm simply going to bring this one here. So GDP at E minus half GDP at E is equal to 1,900. So GDP at E minus half GDP of E, it's the other half, so half GDP at E is equal to 1,900. So GDP at E is equal to 1,900 by 2, that would be 3,800. And that would be your result. Of course, you're gonna write a little bit more details than I do, but I'm correcting you understood the point. So here, I used the C plus I approach, and I found 3,800. Take a screenshot, because I need to erase in order to move on. Done? Okay, moving on. Opa. So question 1 and 2 done. Now they're telling me from now on, use the multiplier. Of course, it's an open economy as I have MPM. So I'm gonna have one open economy multiplier for all the exercises because MPC and MPM are constant. Okay? So open economy multiplier is equal to 1 over MPS plus MPM. So first thing I have to do is calculate MPS. So MPS is equal to 1 minus MPC, which is equal to 1 minus 7 over 8. So it's equal to 1 over 8. Okay? So the open economy multiplier would be open economy multiplier is equal to 1 over 8 plus 3 over 8, which is going to be 1 over 4 over 8, which is 8 over 4, which is equal to 2. And that's your multiplier. Okay, guys? Now I'm moving on to the question 3, as I do have my multiplier, so I can move to question 3. Calculate the GDP at E1, GDP E1, where E1 is equal to 0, GE1 is equal to 400, and I have no exports. When it's not written, it means it's 0. Okay, guys, but when you're using the multiplier, you need a departure point, and here it's not specified. Well, you only have one equilibrium that you determined before, so it's obviously from E. Okay, so from E. So I need the data for E. So GDP at E was equal to 3,800. I at E was equal to IE 200. GE 200. And exports at E were equal to 500. And now we do exactly what we do with all the multipliers. So calculate the delta, then the effect of that delta, and finally the result. So I'm going to start. Delta I is equal to IE1, the new value, minus the old. That's going to give you the change. So IE1 minus IE, which is 0 minus 200, which is equal to negative 200. I'm going to calculate the delta GDP directly next to it. This way I don't waste space. So delta GDP due to I, so what I do, I write a little index. Due to I is equal to delta I times multiplier, the open economy now, which is equal to negative 200 times 2, which is equal to negative 400. So I'm going to do something like this to have space. Okay, equal to negative 400. Agreed? We're going to do the same for G now. Okay, so I'm going to move this way so that I have space. Is equal to, so the new G, GE1, minus the old G, GE, is equal to 400 minus 200, which is equal to 200. So delta GDP due to G, the change that is going to be made by the effect of G, is delta G times the multiplier, which is equal to 200 times 2, which is equal to 400. So these ones are going to offset one another. And now I'm moving to exports. So delta exports equal to exports at E1 minus exports at E. If I don't have exports here, it means it was 0. It is 0. So it's equal to 0 minus 500, which is negative 500. So delta GDP due to exports is equal, I need to leave a space here so that you know it's not one line. Delta GDP due to exports, same thing. It's delta exports times the multiplier, which is negative 500 times 2, which is negative 1,000. I hope you can see. Let me just check that you see everything. Yes, you can see it even though it's small. I'm sorry, guys. Now the new GDP. So GDP at E1 is going to be equal to GDP at E plus delta GDP due to investment plus delta GDP due to the government plus delta GDP due to exports. The question would be, where is the effect of imports? Well, the effect of the import is within your multiplier. You already calculated it. You have already taken it into consideration, okay? So let's start. So GDP, let's continue, sorry, is equal to GDP at E 3,800 plus negative 400 plus positive 400 for this one plus negative 1,000 for this one. Okay? Now simple calculation. These are going to give me 0, so it's 3,800 minus 1,000. It's going to give me 2,800. And that would be your GDP at E1. Take a screenshot, guys, and I'm going to come here and write it here, 2,800. Take a screenshot because I need to move on, okay? I hope it's done. Okay, my multiplier, I know now that it's 2, so I'm just gonna write it. Multiplier is equal to 2. I calculate it once, it's done. And now I move to question 4. So in question 4, I have little a and little b. Question 4, which is determine GDP at E2. At E2, given, oh, that's what I'm calculating, given IE2 is equal to 300, GE2 is equal to 100, and export E2 is equal to 200. Okay, no mistake in here. 3, 1, 2. Little a from E. So from E, I'm gonna need GDP at E. So GDP at E is equal to how much? Here it is. So it's 3,800. I at E was equal to 200. G at E was equal to 200. Exports at E were equal to 500. So it's always the new minus the old. So I'm gonna calculate my deltas and then my delta GDPs. I'm gonna start here. So delta I is equal to IE2 minus IE, which is equal to 300 minus 200, which is equal to 100. That's my delta I. So delta GDP due to I would be delta I times the multiplier, which is equal to 100 times 2, which is equal to 200. Okay? Now I'll move into delta G. So delta G is equal to GE2 minus GE, which is equal. GE2 is 100. minus GE, which is 200. So it's going to give me negative 100. This wasn't done on purpose. So delta GDP due to G is equal to delta G times the multiplier, which is negative 100 by 2, which is negative 200. Again, here it's going to give me a 0 between these two. Now I'm going to move to exports. So delta exports is equal to exports E2 minus exports E1, which is equal to export E2 200 minus E1, it's E, Amy, minus 500, which is going to give me negative 300. So delta GDP due to exports, delta exports times the multiplier, which is equal to negative 300 by 2, which is equal to negative 600. Okay, guys? So now I'm going to calculate my new GDP. So GDP at E2 is equal to GDP at E plus delta GDP due to investment plus the change in GDP due to the government plus the change in GDP due to exports. For imports, it's already calculated. So GDP at E2 is equal to 3,800 plus 200 plus negative 200 plus negative 600. This is the data I have. Okay, let's calculate it. So these two are going to give me 0. So it's going to be 3,800 minus 600. That would be 3,200. That is my GDP E2. Could you please take a screenshot? Because I need now to calculate it from E1. Okay? Done? Moving on. So I found 3,200 and I need to find exactly the same number. If I don't find the same number, it means I made a mistake. I hope not. Okay, erasing. I need my departure points. I'm not changing my arrival points, which is GDP at E2. I'm changing the departure from where I'm going to go. So B, it tells me from E1. So what is my GDP at E1? GDP at E1 was equal to 2,800. Okay, IE1 was equal to 0. GE1 was equal to 400. And what do I have? So 400 and 0, and that's it. No exports. So exports were equal to 0. E1, of course. Put the indexes because it helps you see where you are. Now the deltas. So delta I, start from here so that I have space. Delta I is equal to IE2 minus IE1. So the arrival minus the departure, which is 300 minus 0, which is going to give me 300. So delta GDP due to I is equal to delta I times the multiplier, which is equal to 300 by 2. That would be 600. the effect due to the investments. Now I'm moving to governments. So delta G is equal to the new G minus the old one, GE2 minus GE1, which is equal to 100 minus 400. 100 minus 400, again, negative 300. I swear to you, I didn't do it on purpose. So 100 minus 400, yeah, which is equal to negative 300. So delta GDP due to government is equal to delta G times the multiplier, which is equal to negative 300 by 2, which is equal to negative 600. Okay? These are going to offset again. Now delta exports equal exports at E2 minus exports at equilibrium 1, which is equal to export at E2, that is 200, minus whatever exports I had, that was 0, which is equal to 200. So delta GDP due to exports, it's equal to delta exports times the multiplier, which is equal to, I'm gonna do it here. Ooh, tired. My shoulder. Okay, exports 200 by 2. So 200 by 2, that would be 400. And now we're gonna calculate the new GDP. So GDP at E2 is equal to GDP at E1 plus delta GDP due to I plus delta GDP due to G plus delta GDP due to exports. And let's try. So GDP E2 is equal to 2,800 plus delta GDP I 600 plus delta GDP G negative 600. So these are going to offset, plus delta GDP G 400. So this is here, this is here, this is here, and this is here. And it's going to give me 2,800 plus 400, 3,200. GDP E2, I found the same number, which means I didn't make a mistake, or I made a mistake in both. Okay, guys, take a screenshot because now I need to move to question 5. Oh, the GDP at BEP. This one is a good one. I like it. Let me see what how I'm doing with time. Okay, still in my rules. Moving on. I hope you have it. So they want the BEP from E2. So I have E2 here. I need to write it. Oh, I already have it. And this one is from question 1. So all is fine. Done. Okay, let's move on. I think it's question 5 now. Yeah. For both of them, it's 3,200 in question 4. Now question 5. Question 5. The BEP, GDP at BEP, of course. GDP at BEP. Data in question 1. Question 1. Okay, let's start. I need in the GDP at BEP, I know that everything is 0 except imports. But imports are already taken into consideration in the function itself. Okay? So no need to subtract imports. It's already there. So let's see. Question 1, I had total spending was equal to 4/8 GDP plus 1,400. But I know that I had here investment was equal to 200 and government was equal to 200. Okay. What do I need to do? They are telling me from these questions. So first I need to determine, this is a tricky one, you know? A tricky one. You know what they did here? Actually, I did it. Now, you first need to find the equilibrium with these data and you don't have it. Okay? Once you find the equilibrium in here, you use the multiplier because they told you from now on using the multiplier. So you have to use the multiplier. Then use the multiplier in order to calculate your BEP. Tricky me. Let's move. So if I want it from question 1, I need to determine the equilibrium GDP at the equilibrium of question 1 that I don't have, which is 4/8 GDP at equilibrium question 1 plus 1,400. So you have to calculate this one first. So it's gonna be, I did change this one to 1/2. It's easier. So GDP equilibrium question 1 is minus half GDP at equilibrium question 1 is equal to 1,800. So from here, GDP minus half GDP, that's going to give you half GDP. So half GDP is equal to 1,800, of course, at equilibrium. So GDP at equilibrium question 1 is equal to 1,800 by 2. So it's equal to 3,600. So GDP equilibrium question 1 is equal to 3,600. Okay, guys? Now we need to set everything to 0. So here I had I200 and here G200. And the new values have to be 0. So GDP question 1, I had this GDP, and I had I question 1 was 200, and G question 1 was 200. I didn't have any exports, hopefully. Now at BEP, GDP at BEP, that's what we're looking for. We don't know how much it is, but we know that I at BEP is equal to 0. G at BEP is equal to 0. Exports also are equal to 0, but we don't have them here. But I'm going to write it. Exports equal to 0. So let's start. So 3,000, what am I doing? I need delta I. So delta I is equal to 0. Delta I is equal to IBEP minus I, question 1, which is equal to 0 minus 200, which is equal to negative 200. Okay, so delta GDP due to I is equal to negative, okay, delta I times the multiplier. Are you following with me? I hope so. Delta I times the multiplier, which is equal to negative 200 by 2, which is equal to negative 400. Okay, now I'm going to do delta G. So delta G is equal to G at BEP minus G question 1, which is equal to 0 minus 200, which is equal to negative 200 by 2, which is equal to negative 400. So GDP at BEP is equal to the old equilibrium, which is GDP equilibrium question 1 plus delta GDP due to I plus delta GDP due to G plus delta GDP due to export. Export is 0 times 0, so times 2 actually. Okay, so it's gonna be 3,600 plus negative 400 plus negative 400, and that would be your GDP at BEP. So let's calculate. Minus 400, that would be 3,200. Minus 400, that would be 2,800. Huh. Something's wrong here. Anyway, so I have... Oh, I forgot exports. I don't have any exports. What am I doing? 1,400 times 2. That would be 2,800. What am I doing here? It's 2,800 in here. Why do I have 3,600? Yeah, I have a mistake, guys. Sorry. Here's my mistake. I added these again. So here it's 1,8. Yeah. 1,4. Here it's 1,4. Do you see my mistake? I added again 400. Yeah, this is totally wrong. 1,4. And this is 2,8 with this. Okay, guys? Yeah, it's similar to this one. Okay, so now it's 2,800, isn't it? 2,800. Huge mistake in my data. I hope you saw it. If you saw it, good, because I didn't pay attention. So I replaced by 1,800 when copying from here to here. Okay, guys? So my GDP here was 2,800. So it's 2,800 minus 800. That would be 2,000. And that's exactly what you would find if you set everything to 0 using the C plus I approach. Okay, GDP at BEP is equal to 2,000. That was a catastrophe. It's okay. I wrote too much, you know. You can forgive me for that. But I know you guys, you're adorable. Thank you for being so nice and for giving me my huge mistake. Okay, guys. Take a screenshot because I'm going to move on. Can I? Yes, I think I can. So we found 2,000. Now we have the same question from where? From E2. Okay, so I need the data for E2. Hopefully these are already calculated. So first I need GDP at BEP. That's what I'm calculating. And what are the data in E2? In E2 I have everything. So IBEP is equal to 0, GBEP is equal, not Ezekiel, is equal to 0, and where am I? Here. Exports BEP equal 0. I put all the data that I have and set them to 0. This way it's easier for me for the deltas. Okay, so I have GDP E2, GDP E2 is equal to how much? Oh, 3,200. Okay. IE2 is equal to 300. GE2 is equal to GGG 100. And exports E2 200. And that's the last question, because the other one is going to be posted in your courseware in an Excel workbook, because it's easy for me to make graphs over there. Let's start. So as usual, delta I is equal to the new one, which is IBEP minus IE2, which is equal to 0 minus 300. It's gonna give you negative 300. My dog is whining as usual. So from here, delta GDP due to I is equal to delta I times the multiplier. Ma'am, do we need to rewrite this all the time? Yes, you do. Negative 300 by 2, that would be negative 600. Okay? Moving to delta G. Delta G is equal to G at BEP minus G at E2, which is equal to, okay, G0 minus 100, which is equal to negative 100. Now, delta GDP due to G is equal to delta G times the multiplier. Yes, you have to write it again, which is equal to negative 100 by 2, which is equal to negative 200. Okay, now we're moving to exports. Delta exports equal to delta exports, I was thinking about replacing this one, that's why, is equal to exports at BEP minus exports at E2, which is equal to 0 minus 200, which is equal to negative 200. Now, delta GDP due to exports is equal to delta exports by multiplier, which is equal to negative 200 by 2, which is negative 400. Woo! Ouch! That hurts. So my delta GDPs are here so that I don't mistake them with the deltas, simply the deltas. Okay, no mistake, please, Amy, no more mistakes. Now I'm going to calculate my GDP at BEP. GDP at BEP is equal to GDP at E2 plus delta GDP due to I. Do we have to write this again? Yes, you have to write this again. Plus delta GDP due to G plus delta GDP due to exports. By writing it, actually, it helps you avoid mistakes, but not copying mistakes. It helps you avoid logical mistakes. Okay, which is equal, what is GDP at E2? 3,200 plus what? Plus what, Amy? Plus delta GDP due to I, which is negative 600, plus delta GDP due to G, that's negative 200, plus delta GDP due to G, that's negative 400. Do I have a mistake here? Probably. No, I have no mistake. Yay! I need to find 2,000. Okay, I found here 2,000. So here I need to find 2,000. So if you take 3,200 minus 200, that's 3,000. 3,000 minus 1,000, that's 2,000. So it's the right number. And no mistakes this time. Yay! Okay, guys? I'm not going to give myself an A+, I'm going to give myself a B plus because of that huge mistake I had earlier. Okay, guys, take a screenshot. The last question is going to be posted in the courseware, in the resources, and I'm going to give it a homework correction, open economy multiplier as a title. You're gonna recognize it anyway. Okay, guys? Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye, and work hard. And here we go.